Hello and welcome to my very first YouTube podcast. This is Mo Speaks, where I'll be discussing issues that affect the black community and how we can put forward solutions that may be able to solve the issues that plague us in our everyday lives and continue to plague us into the future. The very first thing that I must address in this podcast is the importance of community. So, what is a community? According to the Mirriam Webster dictionary, a community is a unified body of individuals with common interests living in a particular area. Now, the key word here is common interest. For a community to function as a unit, members of that community must have a common interest, which is the first step in building a community. A common interest ensures that we are not prone to disorganization. As black people, I like to bring it to the attention that disorganization is the kryptonite of the black race. Disorganization isolates us. It pushes us towards individualism. It pushes us towards selfishness. We then develop hatred for each other. Eventually, this organization will erode our shared vision further, hampering our progress. So, we must have a common interest when it comes to forming black communities. We must have a common interest in the education of the black race, elevation of our neighborhood, protecting each other from tyranny, and a common interest in doing good. And this is how we build a strong foundation, which is the second step in building a community. A foundation makes our community resilient. Depending on where you are and where you live, just look around you. Some of you may see man-made infrastructures such as buildings or natural infrastructures such as trees. Man-made or natural, they all must have a strong foundation. A building without a strong foundation will crumble. A tree without strong roots is susceptible to storms, susceptible to high winds. So, whenever we have a foundation, this is how we start off with our community, with a strong foundation, and then we can build on top of it. So, I have outlined steps we can take in building our community. Throughout my year at university, doing a degree in human resource management and a bachelor's in commerce in business, one key concept that was popular is a SWOT analysis. Now, a SWOT analysis is concerned with the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats that an organization may face or may possess. I believe a SWOT analysis could work for a small community, perhaps even in a large community. For a SWOT analysis to work, however, we must have a well-coordinated assessment of the community. And to conduct an assessment, we need data. And I think there are many places that we can collect data, whether it's via the internet, via research papers, secondary data such as the government database, surveys, and other methods of gathering data. And perhaps you, the ones in the audience, can come up with some ideas of where we can also get data. But we have all this data. What exactly are we looking for? For us, I believe the things that we should look for in our black community is that we should have do a SWOT analysis that provides a realistic measurement of our human skills, our natural resources, and our finances. We need to know our strengths as it pertains to our human skills. We also need to know our weaknesses. We need to know the opportunities that exist so we can take advantage of them. And we also need to know the threats that exist that may affect our community so that we can be proactive instead of reactive. Now, These are just examples, but overall, it is important to measure the resourcefulness of the community. After we conduct a SWOT analysis, we can then move forward to implement plans that helps to realize our opportunities, prepare for our threats, know what our strengths are and use them to our advantage, know what our weaknesses are so that we can improve upon them. One key area where I think that we are up and coming, but we still need more resources for that, is education. I believe in the value of a formal education, whether in academics or the skilled trades. A formal education gives a competitive advantage in a constantly changing world. A formal education or an informal education in general helps you to engage in critical thinking, a skill that is necessary to have debates in public forum, challenge the status quo, and a skill that ensures that you can have a sense of skepticism when it comes to the world and the way it functions, the way you perceive it. You should always have a skepticism. Now, I'm not talking skepticism in the way of conspiracies or in the way of doubting science. I have a firm belief in science. As a matter of fact, in today's world, I think scientific thinking is losing its value. What I'm talking about is our innate and natural ability to be curious about the world around us. It is not particular to a specific race. The human race in general has a strong desire to learn about our environment. That's how we progress. That's how we know our weaknesses. That's how we know our strengths. That's how we know where our opportunities are. That's how we know what the threats are. Another key area of focus for us as a black race is that we can have all the plans that we want. We can have good plans that will be beneficial to our community. But if we have plans without capital, whether human or financial capital, it will be difficult for us to implement our plans. With a proper, well-coordinated analysis, we can find out which communities are lacking in capital, and then we can redirect funds to those communities, whether it is in human capital, whether it's in financial capital, or any resource that may help to benefit that community. So, for instance, say we have a community where housing is a problem. We can invest financial capital, we can hire carpenters, we can hire electricians, we can hire housing inspectors and other key members to help build better housing. And these key members can be found within our own community so that we keep our finances circulating within our community. Now that's a topic for another episode. But I'm just talking about how important it is to have a home. It's not just something that is there as a status symbol. Home is a place where you sleep, a place where you seek refuge from the outside elements, a place where you make memories, a place where you take care of your mind. From my experience, working with the homeless population, trying to find solutions to end their homelessness. Usually, we have clients who have jobs. However, what would happen is that they will not be able to keep these jobs because they do not have a place of shelter. Their community cannot provide a shelter. They do not have access to proper housing. And when they do not have proper access to proper housing, we have things to consider, such as the person's lack of sleep, the person's lack of food, and hygiene issues. These are all things that we must consider when people are working. These are important things to be able to take care of if you have a proper home. Another important area that we need to focus on in our black community is leadership. Now, come on. We need to hire leaders who our communities can trust. Not just one who has charisma. Yes, I know charisma is a plus, but we should also hire a leader based on their actions. A leader who can represent our interests in the political arena. A leader who can make changes. And the only way for this to happen is if we put our trust, we have a mutual trust, and we put our power behind that leader. Power is in numbers. Just look at the industriousness of the ant colony. When they work together, how industrious they are when they work together, how everything is coordinated. If we can organize key players within the community, such as our teachers, our farmers, our carpenters, the church, the sports organization, parent groups, and event organizers, we can truly enact change. We can do it. So, when we enact change, we must have a voice. If we don't have a voice, we cannot express our issues, we cannot give feedback. So we must have a voice that allows us to hear each other's sides, things that affects us. And this is what breaks us out of this isolation that's caused by politics and other differences that cause friction. We must have a conversation, a dialogue. Yes. There will always be friction, but issues can be resolved in a manner that would not really hamper our progress. Benefits, Black people, can be realized through collaboration. We can collaborate through a shared vision, one that allows us to interact with each other in a compassionate way. We can break down these divides if we work together as communities. We can also bring about changes through protests, which sometimes can be confrontational, but they're important. Why? Because they help to bring about critical social change and correct any power imbalance that may be present within institutions that are responsible for enacting policies that affect our everyday lives. So we need to have competent communities that are capable of negotiation and ensure transparency, and we can hold institutions accountable. We put all these things together, we can grow as a community. We can not just have quantitative growth like in erecting structures, putting up buildings, or putting projects in place that does not benefit us, just as an optic. I am talking about quality growth in terms of our culture, in terms of our ability to preserve our history, in terms of our ability to preserve our values for future generations. We need to have growth in our love for each other, in our connectedness, our financial and educational. Growth within institutions in terms of its engagement with us into the public, good governance, access to expertise and knowledge that we can use for our benefits, equity, equality, fairness, a fair playing field for every member within the Black society, growth in our capacity to problem solve, and growth in community resilience. But most importantly, we cannot have growth, we cannot have feedback, we cannot have discussion without having a space where we can discuss matters that affect our community. Perhaps we can have regular town hall meetings where we can speak with leaders of our communities, give them feedback in terms of what's working, what's not working, bring forward your own solutions, speak about issues that you see that is affecting your community negatively or in a positive way, that it can show that the leader that they can go and get investment for something that affects us, that it's positive. So we need a space where we can discuss things such as crime and violence, education, employment, food security, climate change, and other important issues which I'll be discussing in upcoming podcasts. Remember, it is true communities that we can establish meaningful relationships, whether it is Black people in the diaspora, Black people on the continent of Africa, Black people all around the world, across the land and across the ocean. It is communities that ensures progress. It is communities that ensures that we move forward. Remember, Progress never ends. It is ongoing until our very last day here on this mysterious rock. Now, thank you, my black brothers and sisters, for tuning into this podcast. And I hope you can share it and give other ideas and make a comment in the comment section. Let's have a discussion. Let's really have discussion about important issues that affect us. Thank you again for tuning in to this YouTube channel. And remember to stay blessed.